This is no joke. No filters have been used, no CGI whatevers. This is real. This is blue turmeric, and you can grow it too. Hey everyone, Natissa here, and welcome to the subtropical Florida Gulf Coast, Zone 10. And in this climate, we have a long growing season. We hardly ever freeze. There's a lot of heat, humidity, and the soil is basically sand. If you can get some broken down organic matter mixed into that soil and keep the moisture levels in there at all times while being well draining and not just a soggy mess, and the area you have has some shade, whether by a tree, maybe by a larger plant, or maybe just a bright shade like against a light colored house, you have a perfect place to grow blue turmeric, or any turmerics in general. I have been growing turmeric here in my carport for the last about 2 years, and I have found that it is perfect to contain such good soil inside that container, and I'm able to monitor the moisture levels of what it likes, where it's not too soggy but still is very moist. And being that it is in a container, I can easily move them around into better shade if need be. And as the day goes on, the high noon sun is not in this carport anymore, but because of the light color of my house, it makes it like a light shaded microclimate, I guess you could say. And that is what turmeric likes. It doesn't like a lot of direct sunlight, especially here in Florida in our subtropics, because the sun is actually way more intense than in a temperate climate. This is perfect. This is simple. It has worked for me before. So sometime from late spring or early summer, the turmeric has been growing, and as we hit our shorter days in the fall and going into winter, and of course the temperature starts to cool down, these plants go dormant. They die back. In fact, you can see right here, it just looks dead, but it's gone to sleep. And this is the time to harvest your turmeric rhizomes. I did grow not only blue turmeric, but also the orange turmeric. And the only way to tell which was on the leaves of the blue turmeric. You'll see that there was a purple stripe going up the middle of the leaf, and that's how I knew. And I also labeled them just in case. It is winter here, and of course the days are shorter, and it is getting cooler outside, and this is the time that the turmeric is ready for harvesting. So let's get harvesting this blue and orange turmeric. But first, let us do the orange one. Let's go. The orange turmeric that we're growing in these containers, and we tipped them out. Orange turmeric here, orange turmeric there. And something important to note, you can see that, well, maybe you can't see, but this is very dry. I have not been watering these since they have gone dormant because I did not want to rot out the rhizomes. That's why in growing turmeric, you need to have well draining soil, because if your rhizomes sit in too much water, your turmeric will rot. All right, let's get harvesting some orange turmeric. Start digging. A little bit right in here. Oh, right over here too, okay. See some of the root systems here. Out here, these long looking things. It's really smelling like turmeric in this carport now. Ooh, this little guy fell out. Look at that. Keep going, keep going. All right, I'm not gonna lie, I thought I would get a little more than this, but when you think about it, I planted about this much in that pot. About 3-4 times that much. I mean, like I said, with hardly any work I've done, this is pretty good, I think. Let's check the other one. Yeah. All right. So amongst all these roots, you can break off the pieces just like this. There's where we broke it off. And you have some turmeric. All right, the time you've been waiting for. Time to harvest the blue turmeric. All right, let's go. And already looking at this blue turmeric, it looks like it even grows different than the orange. It almost looks like little potatoes in there. Huh. That's interesting. It's like from each root is a tuber, a rhizome, what would you call it? Laying it on the ground might be easier to see, but look at that. It's just on each root, there's one hanging from it. See if I can get one off for you. Here's a single one that I pulled off. But yeah, that's interesting. You got the root, and then at the very end, you got yourself the rhizome of the blue turmeric. Doesn't look so blue right now. Huh. Oh, we'll see. But interesting, toward the top of the plant, you still, or not the top of the plant, but the top of where the bottom of the plant is, it still forms like the clusters of rhizomes like an orange one would. That's interesting. Let's dig into the other one before we get into that. Gotta find the base of the plant. That seems to be where it all is. As the turmeric was growing in my carport, I will say that there were periods that the plant did dry out in the containers, but I would get water on it and keep it moist, and it didn't seem to hurt the plant too much. Also, the high noon sun does come into the carport, but the carport does have a wall that goes up part of the way and does provide some shade on the containers where the turmeric is growing. So maybe that bit of shade helps as well. Usually with the turmeric, I am beginning to find they do start sprouting probably between late spring to maybe early summer. So once I get them in the ground, they are growing from that time all the way till our days are getting shorter, and that's when those rhizomes start to grow. And before you know it, we'll be back here next year harvesting more blue turmeric. And it's so easy to do with the right conditions. You don't need some big growing space, just a couple containers and a place where it has some nice bright shade. You can keep the soil amended in maybe that small container and make sure it's moist, well draining, not sopping wet. I also like to put some mulch on the top, which is very helpful to keep moisture in. And a long growing season, anywhere from 6 to maybe 9 months. And once it goes dormant and it looks dead, you can start harvesting your turmeric too. Well, I hope you found this video helpful or just plain cool. It's blue turmeric. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.